We're on day 16 of the 30-day craft room organization challenge. Let's talk heat embossing supplies. So when I went to my very first card class about 15 years ago, we did heat embossing. And from that moment on, I was hooked. So this is one of my favorite techniques. And if you haven't done it before, make sure to check out my other videos on heat embossing. But in my basement, I wanted to make sure I had a separate station designated just for this. And so I'm using the IKEA Kallax shelves, but this time it's the 2x2. So a total of 4 shelves over here. And I just recently added drawers, which you can do after the fact. And I'm thinking about adding the doors on the bottom. So we'll see about that. But over here, I have some grid paper down below because it can get messy. And then I have the Versamark pad on top, which you'll need for heat embossing. And then the old retired embossing tray. Now, they don't sell this anymore because it actually increases static in your powder, which you don't want to do. So technically, the best solution is to just use a piece of paper, fold it in half so that you can then dump the powder back into its little container. I have 2 heat tools, the newer version and then the older version. That way 2 people can be drying or embossing at a time over here. I have a little cup from the dollar store that I store a lot of other essentials. So the embossing buddy, which you'll need to reduce the static. Then I have the brush and then just a regular paint brush that's a little bit more controlled. A spoon is good for dumping the embossing powder on top. I've got a tweezers so you don't burn yourself, or same thing with the clothespins that can also hold your paper so you don't burn yourself. And then I have an Versamarker. So if you're also trying to heat emboss using a marker as opposed to a pad, you can do that. And then my favorite hack is using a Kcup Carousel so that you can see all of your different embossing powders. And you can find these like on Facebook Marketplace for $5. And so it's just a great way to keep all your embossing powders visible so you don't forget about them. In my drawers, I keep my extra powders in this little clear caddy from 31. And then I have a bunch of these from the dollar store. I like them because they snap the lids on, but it's just a good way to have a little bit. This is where I use the spoon to dump the powder back into a bigger container. And this is for heat and stick powder. This is for my clear embossing powder. And just an extra collection of sort of miscellaneous powders sort of mixed together. And then over here in this drawer, I have our new Gilded Leafing, which I haven't played with yet, but I have a class coming up using this. And I've heard that it's good to keep it in a big Tupperware. So I got this from the dollar store as well. And this is 1 container of it. So it takes up a good spot in the drawer. But in any case, try and get your heat embossing supplies organized so that you don't forget to use them, because it's one of the best techniques for us card makers. See you tomorrow.